Hello, dear viewers. I hope you're in a good mood and ready to enjoy this intriguing tale. Today, I will recount the story of Masha, a married woman in her 30s who found herself in an unexpected situation and had to make a difficult decision. Masha had been happily married for 10 years and was a mother of 2 children. She lived in a small town and recently went on a business trip to Moscow for 2 weeks. During her time in the capital, Masha indulged in some shopping, but little did she know that her spending spree would lead to a challenging situation. On a Friday morning, Masha boarded the train to return home. As she woke up in the train compartment, she prepared herself for the arrival. She anticipated her husband Vadim waiting for her at the station, ready to help with her heavy suitcase and drive her home. However, things didn't go as planned. To Masha's disappointment, she received a text message from Vadim, apologizing that he couldn't meet her at the station due to a work emergency. He instructed her to find her own way home, assuring her that he would meet her there in the evening. Feeling let down, Masha was left with the predicament of how to transport her heavy suitcase home. As she considered her options, Masha realized that she had spent all her money on the trip and had only some change left in her wallet. She couldn't afford a cab ride and didn't want to walk with the heavy suitcase in the summer heat, especially in her high-heeled shoes. With no other choice, Masha reluctantly decided to find a cash machine to withdraw money. However, to her dismay, the cash machine displayed a message that there were no funds available in her account. Masha couldn't understand how all their money had been depleted, as she had deposited a significant amount before her trip. Frustrated and annoyed, she wondered where Vadim had spent the money without informing her. Left with no cash and no means of transportation, Masha dragged her heavy suitcase to the cab rank at the train station. She hoped she could find a solution, perhaps borrowing money from a neighbor or a friend. Unfortunately, no one was around, and Masha realized she had to face the situation on her own. A cab driver in an old Volkswagen Polo approached Masha. He sympathetically helped her load the suitcase into the trunk and courteously opened the door for her. Masha got into the cab, feeling exhausted and defeated. She informed the driver of her address, but as she did, she couldn't help but notice his doubtful expression. The distance seemed to concern him. During the ride, Masha struck up a conversation with the cab driver named Artem. He shared that he used to live in Moscow and had studied at an institute there. However, he hadn't completed his studies and had been working as a cab driver in Masha's town for the past 2 years. Masha found herself drawn to his story, and they continued chatting. Unbeknownst to Masha, a spark of attraction started to ignite between her and Artem. The conversation flowed easily, and Masha couldn't help but feel a connection to him, reminding her of the early days with Vadim. They arrived at Masha's house, but as she reached for her wallet, she realized she had no money to pay for the fare. She nervously explained the situation to Artem, apologizing for her lack of funds. The cab driver, though understanding, offered a solution. He suggested accompanying her to her apartment, allowing her to retrieve the money there. Masha hesitated, worried about inviting a stranger into her home, but she saw no other option. With cautious hope, she agreed to his proposal. As they arrived at Masha's apartment, she felt a mix of apprehension and intrigue. Artem waited in the cab while she went inside to find the money. However, as she searched her home, Masha realized that even her husband hadn't left any cash behind. Feeling frustrated and embarrassed, she returned to the cab empty-handed. Artem handled the situation with grace, acknowledging that these circumstances happen from time to time. Masha felt a surge of admiration for his understanding and began to see him in a different light. She appreciated his kindness amidst her desperate situation. They shared a genuine connection, even in this unexpected turn of events. Feeling grateful for his understanding, Masha expressed her gratitude to Artem and prepared to leave the cab. However, in a bold move, Artem leaned in and passionately kissed her. Surprised but unable to resist the spark of desire, Masha reciprocated, indulging in the momentary thrill. After the passionate kiss, they looked at each other with a mix of satisfaction and curiosity. Masha, knowing the boundaries of her actions, made it clear that it was a one-time encounter. She thanked Artem once again and exited the cab, dragging her heavy suitcase behind her. Masha entered her home, where Vadim awaited her, unaware of the events that had transpired. He showered her with affectionate gestures, but Masha, still in a daze from her encounter with Artem, couldn't fully respond. She excused herself to the bathroom, seeking solace in the refreshing water of the shower. As Masha lay in bed, contemplating the events of the day, she felt a mix of emotions. She recognized that her encounter with Artem had been an impulsive decision driven by frustration and curiosity. It was an experience that awakened her senses and reminded her of the desires that had faded in her marriage. With a sense of maturity and self-awareness, Masha made a firm decision not to let such situations occur again. She resolved to communicate better with Vadim and address the issues that had led to this moment. It was time to reconnect with her husband and rediscover the passion they once shared. And so, the story ends. leaving Masha with a renewed determination to rebuild her marriage and learn from her momentary lapse in judgment. Now, it's your turn, dear viewers. What are your thoughts on this situation and the behavior of the characters? Share your insights in the comments below. Thank you for listening to this story. If you enjoyed it, please support us by subscribing to our channel. Have a wonderful day.